I call Brendan Burns.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Thank you very much. This part 2 of this bill establishes the Rugby World Cup Authority, and I wanted to make very clear and explicit that the Labour Party supports the establishment of the World Rugby Cup Authority. And like my colleague Grant Robertson, I was working for Helen Clark when we won the bid for the Rugby World Cup, and it was a very exciting time, and it remains a very exciting time for New Zealand. And we do need a bill like this to facilitate what that cup will bring to us. But that doesn't mean giving a minister carte blanche to make the final decisions. That's why we're establishing, under Part 2, the Rugby World Cup Authority. And I wanted to just say also, as the MP for Christchurch Central, as host to the AMI Stadium, which is the natural centre of rugby in New Zealand, given the success of the Canterbury team, the Crusaders team, which will be hosting no less than 7 games during the Rugby World Cup, no less than 7 games. And that's a very important thing for Christchurch, particularly at this time. That's including two quarter-finals. It's very important given the economic boost it will bring, most especially because of the economic devastation that the earthquake has brought to my city at the moment. So we're looking forward to the Rugby World Cup, but we're not going to do it in a way which gives carte blanche to Minister of Mr McCulley's reputation. And I wanted to give an example. Of how there are aspects of this bill that are still quite perturbing, quite disturbing. And I note, for instance, in Part 2, that this gives the right to the Rugby World Cup Authority to award liquor licences, and then it goes on to say that in doing so, in exercising the functions under the Act, the authority must ensure the safe, efficient and lawful conduct of the Rugby World Cup, and that public health and safety must be protected as far as reasonably practicable during the period of the Rugby World Cup 2011. And I wanted to draw to the attention of the House the advice of the police about the issue of alcohol being served in the stadium. For a 6-month period, from October last year through to March this year, the police were conducting a very strong campaign, lobbying their own minister, Judith Collins, lobbying the Minister for the Rugby World Cup, lobbying the Minister for Economic Development, saying to those ministers that the consideration should be given very seriously to providing what they call wet pour beer facilities as part of the investment, the public investment being made in upgrading stadia for the Rugby World Cup. And the logic of the police was this, as revealed in an OIA that I lodged with the Minister in March of this year, that they were having ongoing discussions with the Rugby World Cup management about the risk management of excessive alcohol consumption. They acknowledged, the Rugby World Cup 2011 was arguing that the cost was high, but the police made very, very clear that worldwide the move to the provision of wet pour facilities, together with low alcohol or zero alcohol in the bowl area of stadia, was happening worldwide, and that these facilities, wet pour facilities, were already available at Eden Park itself when cricket matches were being held. So cricket matches, wet pour, but the government's position remained adamant through that 6 months from the police. They kept saying that this had to be because of the economic advantage that it brought. But the police continued. They brought it up to the level of the Deputy Commissioner, Rob Pope, who in a note to the Minister dated on the 2nd of December the 9th of last year, advised the Minister that the police considered the legacy investment in the Rugby World Cup facilities should include investment in infrastructure necessary to allow wet pour facilities, asked that this briefing be forwarded to the Minister for Economic Development, the Minister of Justice and to the Minister, Mr McCulley. And the rationale for the police's position in supporting a wet pour, that is beer being poured into plastic glasses rather than the proposal which won the day in the final analysis, which was for beer to be served in cans, was this: that the misuse, and I'm quoting from the police's own paper, that the misuse of alcohol, violence and disorder are associated with major events, and the police's position is supported by international studies which clearly show the relationship between sporting events and offending and victimisation, and that the provision of alcoholic beverages in foam or plastic cups tends to reduce the potential... Mr Chair, Mr Chair,
Oh, Jackie
Mr Chair, Mr Chair, Mr Chair.
I've called Jackie Dean.